On today's show, we're talking about NBA 2K. Why is Luka Doncic the 7th rated player in NBA 2K? Blasphemy. What does the 2K rating say about the Mavericks' depth? What does it say about the rest of the team? The three-point shooting on this team. There's some wild ratings on this. We'll talk about what it means for the Dallas Mavericks and more on today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks podcast.
The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. Bang! Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager for the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen every day. Remember, Locked On Mavs is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube, where the best way you can help us grow the show is to comment anything below. Let us know. Luka is the 7th rated player in 2K. Which of these players should not be rated higher than him? Giannis, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid. Let us know which of those players. Maybe all of them. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs. Co-writer. What are we writing? Should we write a book? We should write a Locked On Mavs book.
The history and origins of Locked On Mavs.
Co-host, writer, and contributor at Mavs.com. The 2K grinding ghoul, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
I don't know about anymore. Back in the day, I would grind on 2K, but I do have it this year. Have fun. I actually get a reviewer's copy of 2K every year too.
Okay, so now we're getting free stuff. We really should write a book
to review it. But no, when I think of 2K, I think of the Mavs like 2K team. Throwback to the days that I used to cover Mavs gaming.
Dimes. Oh, remember Dimes? He was the first draft pick in 2K history, in NBA 2K league history.
Great guy, a lot of fun to cover. Like I legit covered their like first year, and I didn't realize how much like drama you could get in an esports team. You got your salad hat on.
My salad hat is like not lined up to. I don't know what's going on, but
it's like
they had drama. They were like infighting and stuff.
Oh man, so much drama. And
you were getting texts.
But it was fun. And Mavs sent me to New York City to cover like one of the games, like at their like the 2K studios there, or NBA 2K, and it was a lot of fun to watch it in person. But what was the first NBA video game that you played?
Oh, I was an NBA Live person at first. I started.
Well, I think everybody was, because 2K wasn't back then.
I started like NBA Live like 2005. Like I remember the Carmelo one. I think was the first one that I got.
Okay.
I wasn't huge into video games when I was younger, but like middle school I started to get into it. And then I had that one. I skipped
64.
I skipped the Dwayne Wade one.
Oh, get that trash out of it. The first one I remember was Nintendo 64. It had Tim Duncan on it. And
I had an old 64 one that was like NBA 98 I got from my cousin that had Kobe on the front of it.
That's what it was. Mm-hmm. I think one of those 99, I guess, one of them had Duncan on it. I remember playing the crap out of that game.
Yeah.
And then 2K just kind of changed the game as we got older. And here we are, 2K23, baby.
And so we're going to talk about NBA 2K today because it matters. It does matter. They put a ton into these ratings. They update them throughout the year now. Like they update with injuries and all kinds of stuff now. Like they put a lot of work into it. They're basically a scouting department of sorts, because if any of their ratings are like off, you'll hear about it on social, and Ronnie 2K mentions will just get full of people just complaining about certain things. And so they really try to stay true to the NBA. And I think it says something, at least it's another perspective on what this Mavericks team could be about and what Luka is about and how he stacks up to the rest of the league. So some of this is pretty interesting. So let's just get into it right here. So the top players in the game, Giannis is a 97, and then they have 5 players as ranked 96th. So 97 is the highest that they have this year among current players. And then it's Durant, Curry, LeBron, Jokic, and Embiid are all 96s. Luka is by himself on his own tier at 95. Is Luka too low? Is 95 like properly rated for him? Is that should he be up there with the 96s? Should any of them be lower?
LeBron at 96 is ludicrous. Like, I'm sorry. He should not be up there.
I was like, baby,
him at this age and missing the games. I know he averaged a lot of points last year, but
almost led the league in scoring.
Congrats. That's awesome. But the defense has slipped some. Like, it's just, I'm not, it's more about the other players on a different level than LeBron right now. And LeBron is what? This is year 20, and he just shouldn't be on the same level as like KD, Jokic, Steph, Luka. I mean, he should be in the 90s for sure. I'm not trying to say that, but like he should be more like with Kawhi, Jason Tatum, like 94, 93 instead of right up there at the top.
The thing about these is you have to remember they're playable characters. And so it's not like, right? I mean, I'm going to do this thing again. You hate when I do this, but they're playable characters. You're getting like the athleticism of the player and the IQ of the player. They can only ratchet it up a certain way. Like they can't program every single Luka Doncic thought. The ridiculous passes we see him make, they can only program in a certain amount of those. And so you're not going to get every single one of them. I agree with you though. I don't think LeBron is even a 96 with the attributes he has now, because he can turn it up on in an individual game. But when you're talking about a whole season, you're talking about even a playoff series, he hasn't led that Lakers team. He didn't lead that Lakers team into anything big last year. And I think it's because he just can't do that as a player anymore. Whereas like Luka can still do that. He can still drag a team like that. Durant at least dragged that team into the playoffs without Kyrie and the Harden situation and all that. And all the rest of those guys are in their primes right now. So yeah, I think I'm with you. He should have probably been right there with either Kawhi or Ja as like a couple points below, or even lower there. But yeah, that Luka being a 95 and not being with the rest of that group says probably a lot more about his athleticism than it does about anything else.
Well, I think there's a little bit of unproven stuff with it too. Like one, it's just a point. It's just like one rating point off. But
it's one whole point. It's a whole point.
Giannis, Jokic, all four of those other dudes have won MVPs. All four of those other dudes, or three of those guys have won titles. Jokic has won back-to-back MVPs. So like you get it. Steph just went on a crazy run. You get it. He won a title. Like Giannis, Durant, I kind of understand it. I don't understand it, for LeBron in year 20. But oh well, I don't care that much about that dumb.
The other 90 rated players. So we mentioned that top seven. Kawhi is a 94. John Morant's a 93. Tatum and Butler are both 93s as well. Devin Booker is the only 91. Chris Paul, Trae Young, and Anthony Davis are all 90s. Take any issue with that? Anybody out of order?
No, I didn't look below the 90. There's probably, some guys at 89, 88, somewhere through there that'd be like, I might have him a little higher. But no, I think it's funny that Booker's their cover athlete and he's a 91.
Do you want me to go through the rest of the players right under him?
Yeah, give me the 89s.
89s. Lillard, Harden, Kyrie, Kat, DeRozan are all the 89s. 88s, Donovan Mitchell, Paul George, Levine, Rudy Gobert. I'm okay with that. Maybe Damian Lillard. I think I'd personally take Lillard over Chris Paul and Trae Young right now. But oh well. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Interesting.
Yeah. Can I give you another Luka stat?
Yeah, give me a Luka one.
So Luka has an A+ 3-point rating, and we'll talk more about the Mavs in a little bit and who's the best 3-point shooter on the Mavs, according to 2K. Some other guys, according to 2K, that are A+. There's only 15 players that have the A+ rating on 2K for 3-point shooting. You got the naturals: Steph, Clay, Karl Anthony Towns.
Yep.
There you go. Jason Tatum, Trae Young, Durant. Here's a couple: Mike Muscala.
Oh yeah, the Moose.
Luke Kennard.
At A+.
A+. McDermott, Joe Harris.
McBuckets.
Kind of makes it. Here's one for you. He actually played college down the street, if you forgot this, but Desmond Bane.
I was molded by TCU, Texas.
But are you surprised that Luka has an A+ 3-point?
So I thought when I first saw it, I was like, wait, what? Luka is by far the highest Maverick 3-point rating. But then you got to think it's the difficulty that he takes them, right? The step back three makes it difficult. Now, you as a Mavericks fan or as a Slovenia fan or as both listening know that Luka cannot hit a wide open catch and shoot 3-point shot to save his life. But the difficulty of his step back threes and when he starts getting hot is like maybe nobody else in the NBA right now. Harden was like that a couple years ago, but he's not now. And so you start to look at that and you say, okay, well, that makes the three-point rating make a little bit more sense. And that rating to me says a lot about the Mavericks. When Luka is hot and when Luka has that three-point shot going, they're almost unbeatable. We've seen it time and time again. We saw it just with Slovenia and Eurobasket that when he has that three-point shot going, it's over for everybody else. And so I think 2K's got something there when they're talking about an A+ rating. Now, they don't do like talent and consistency and this. They just go based off of like talent, right? They're playable characters. So Luka having an A+ makes sense, even if his percentage is not that great. And sometimes he can shoot the Mavs at a certain games. But
that's exactly what I was going to say about it. So that's good.
Well, there you go. I'm glad that you told me that you were. Coming up, let's get into depth. The second best player on every team in the West. I went through it. Who's the Mavs' second best player? Should they be the second best player? And then where do they rank as far as all the other second best players in the West? We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about BetOnline. We're talking about a virtual world in 2K. Now you have a virtual world of betting where you can just bet on all these different teams. The NFL, it's Bengals versus Cowboys this weekend. I know Dak is out. I know that. But if you're feeling good about the Dallas Cowboys, they are a 7-point underdog at home. Goodness. Wow. The over-under is 41.5. I think I might take the under on that one. Total points scored for both teams combined. 41, that's too good of a number, 41.5. Because I don't know if the Cowboys are putting up 20 and the Bengals can put up 20. So,
yeah. I think I'll take the over.
You take the over on it? You can check out that and a whole bunch of other stuff. They even have NBA futures, all kinds of stuff like that. Go check it out. It's BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Isaac Harris, we're continuing to talk about NBA 2K23. Luka Doncic is a 95, seventh highest rated player in the game. And then you look at, okay, who's the second best player on the Mavericks? There's a couple of candidates, right? Like Dinwiddie's probably a candidate. Tim Hardaway Jr. you could talk me into. Dorian. Christian Wood's definitely a candidate. There are certain people on the internet that would talk you into Dwight Powell being a candidate. That you could find them. They're deep in the internet, but 2K has Christian Wood as the second highest rated player on the Mavericks at an 84, and Dinwiddie is an 80. Dorian is a 78. Tim Hardaway Jr. is a 77. JaVale McGee is a 77. So those are the top six, counting Luka, on the Dallas Mavericks. What were your thoughts on Christian Wood being the second highest rated player and 4 points higher than Dinwiddie?
Well, I've been pretty adamant that I think Dinwiddie's the second best player on the team. So I obviously disagree with that, whether you want to say Dinwiddie should be higher or whatever it is. Christian Wood at 84 is very interesting. Now, if you go back to last year, I don't know if we remember, but Moses Brown was a top 5 rated player for the Mavs last year going into the season. So
was he really?
He was, yeah. I think he was like the 5th highest rated player on the team. I
just recently got reminded, I think it was YouTube or something brought something up into my feed that was like, it was me and Rylan Stiles from Locked On Thunder who came on to talk about Moses Brown. And we were like, the title was, can Luka Doncic make Moses Brown a starting center in the NBA? And like the screenshot was Rylan's face and it was like a question face, like with his eyebrow raised. Like, I don't think so.
Shout out to our Media Day interview.
I was gonna say those are the questions we were asking last year around Media Day, which is coming up. Not this Monday, but next Monday,
26th. Yeah.
And so we won't be able to talk to Jalen Brunson this year at Media Day. Just letting you know that we won't get to continue that story again. Although we
go to New York.
I was gonna say, although we probably will bring it up when they play at MSG.
We will ask every Mav about Jalen Brunson. No,
brutal.
So I was like, all right, Christian Wood's 84. Let me just stroll through 2K a little bit and see some other 84s across the league. Let me see if like this Christian Wood 84 is
on par.
Yeah. Let me give you some names. How about this? Tell me, just give me yes.
Oh yeah, you want me to give you a higher or lower? Should Christian Wood be higher or lower than this player?
Yeah. You ready?
Okay.
Evan Mobley. No, stop. Come.
Christian Wood should be lower.
Yes, he should.
It's just the thing about Mobley and some of these younger players is they represent like you can see the growth in it, right? And so like
growth or not, Evan Mobley is already better.
Evan Mobley should be higher, yeah.
Clint Capella.
The thing about 2K ratings is
your dog hates that one.
I know. Is it's about talent, and I think Christian Wood has as much talent as Clint Capella does.
Okay, yeah,
so sure. I'm putting them the same. I hit both of
them. Tyler Hero.
My dog's filling the dead air. Tyler, these are so good.
The fact that Tyler Hero could be the centerpiece of a package.
He hasn't been, though. Nobody wants it. Christian Wood should be lower.
De'Aaron Fox. And now Nick just did the like.
I'm back. I'm trying to get my dog back up.
Chris Collinsworth slide.
My wife just left out of nowhere. It's like 10 p.m. Come here. Come here, dog.
Like, I'm going to get some food.
This is a classic Friday episode. Come here.
All right. I'm just going to throw out your names without the buzzer. These are other 84s across the league. De'Aaron Fox, RJ Barrett, Nick Has Snacks by Built Bar. De'Aaron Fox, RJ Barrett.
Now I have a dog.
Jamal Murray.
Oh, the Jamal Murray one is wild. Jamal Murray should be way higher than Christian Wood. I guess they're hedging for the injury, I guess, but
Tyrese Halliburton, Cade Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, and Andrew Wiggins. These are all 84s across the league. These are some 83s that they obviously 2K says Christian Wood is better than.
Yeah.
Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., John Collins, Jalen Brunson, Wendell Carter Jr., Ben Simmons, Valanciunas, Van Vliet, Mikal Bridges.
The Ben Simmons one is wild. That's
Thompson,
a multi-time All-Star.
Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jordan Poole. So according to 2K, Christian was better than them. I'm just saying, like, there is, if you want to talk about potential and shooting for potential, it's the Christian Wood of shooting for potential as an 84.
100%. It's all, I think that's all potential, athleticism, skills, talent, ability. Like it's all that. And the questions about Christian Wood have been, can he fit with a team? Can he fit with a coach? Can he fit in a system? Can he affect winning? Those questions you don't ask in 2K. You just are like, hey, let me take control of this player. I'll do I'll hit the pick and roll. I'll hit the pick and roll button, and then he'll do the pick and roll, and it won't matter, right? Like he'll answer the call. So yeah, I'm not worried about any of those questions in 2K. So it makes sense to me what Christian Wood's an 84. I don't think he's too low. I think some of the other ones are too high or too low in either direction, but 84 is probably good for Christian Wood.
For rebounding on the Mavs, where do you think Christian Wood is?
Probably number 1. Maybe JaVale's higher.
Christian Wood is number 3.
Who's higher than him?
JaVale McGee at number 1 and Luka Doncic number 2.
Luka makes sense. He averages the most on the team, so.
Then Dwight at 4, but Christian Wood is number 3.
The thing about Luka is like Luka is the same rebounder as Westbrook, right? Like we're not talking about them getting rebounds in traffic and
I don't know. Luka
boxing out a whole. He's bigger than Westbrook, obviously, so he's going to get better ones. But
I wouldn't
functionally, they're getting the same kind of rebound.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he boxes out more than Russ, but he at least like gets down it.
Steven Adams isn't tipping rebounds to Luka like he did to Russell Westbrook.
You want to talk about some 3-point shooting on the Mavs?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and then we'll do depth coming up here in
because it kind of ties in. It kind of ties into Christian Wood here.
The 3-point shooting numbers are wild on this.
So we know Luka Doncic is 80 is A+, the highest rating you can get with 3-point shooting. Number 2 on the team, Christian Wood at A-.
Oof. The thing
Dorian
is, though,
Finney-Smith
his percentage has been really good over the last couple of years. That's one of the big keys that we've been pushing for him.
Yeah, so I guess my takeaway, Dorian has an A- also. Reggie Bullock a B+.
Statistically, Christian Wood is a better 3-point shooter than Brunson, right? Like if you're trying to look at, okay, well, they lose Brunson, but they add Christian Wood, you're adding a better 3-point shooter. It's kind of weird to think about it like that.
Is 2K contributing to people having too high of expectations?
I think 2K is when these 2K ratings came out and I started looking at them with Christian Wood, I said, this is what everyone thinks about, Christian Wood when they're saying, oh, the Mavericks will be fine. They'll be even better than last year because of, because of Christian Wood, because they see that talent, and they get tantalized by it and say, oh, if he puts it all together. And we're saying the same thing. I'm saying the same thing. If he puts it all together, if everything works for him, it'll be a monster year.
I know. And that's my thing. I think I look at it and I'm like, dang it, because I don't want to set an expectation for it. That's my thing. And some people read it as like, oh, he doesn't like Christian Wood. No, it's not that I don't like Christian Wood. It's just, I don't want to set an expectation for it because they didn't invest a ton into it.
You don't trust him yet.
No, I just want to see it. Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see it on a winning team before I'm saying he's the clear-cut number 2 and he's going to be like the second star next to Luka. I just got to see it.
Some would say you have to believe to see, or do you have to see to believe?
I mean, some would say if you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
If you don't believe, you shouldn't be here.
And some would say you have to walk by faith, Isaac Harris. I don't know who would say that. Should I get the guitar out? Pastor Isaac, should I get the guitar and we start talking about?
You might need to get the guitar out to talk about the rest of where Maxi Kleba is on.
I have a couple other things on 3-point rating and on the Mavs themselves, but I want to talk about the second best player on every team in the West because I thought that really stood out, and it kind of shows where the Mavs are, but the Mavs are not too far off some of these teams. We'll talk about that coming up. All right, Isaac Harris. Christian Wood, second best player on the Dallas Mavericks, according to NBA 2K. He's an 84 ranking. He is 11 points lower than Luka Doncic, which makes sense. Here are the other players in the Western Conference that are the second best player on their team that are ranked here. You have the best one is Chris Paul is a 90 on the Suns. Anthony Davis is also a 90. You have Paul George in 84, Gobert's in 88, Gobert's in 88. You have a bunch of 84s. You have an 86 in Brandon Ingram, a bunch of 84s, a bunch of 82s. Jaren Jackson Jr. is an 83. So Christian Wood is right there. Here. Let me do the list again. That was the most confusing.
I'm trying to follow.
That's the most confusing way. I totally could have put that. All right.
People are hating this episode if they could care less about 2K.
No, but I think it matters because these are the second best players, and it's how far behind the Mavs are.
Yeah.
Chris Paul and Anthony Davis, both 90s, the second best player on their team according to 2K. Those are the two second best players in the West. I would probably put Paul George up there with them, but sure. Paul George is an 88, and so is Rudy Gobert as an 88. So that's the next tier, is those two guys. So that's 4. Then you have Brandon Ingram, that's an 86. He's the next one. Zion is an 87. They have Zion higher than Ingram on the Pelicans, which is interesting. And then Christian Wood, Jamal Murray, De'Aaron Fox are all 84s. That's the next tier. So there's at least by 2K standards, at least 5 players, second best players on teams in the West that are better than Christian Wood. Do you think that's accurate?
Just 5. Wow.
Wiggins is an 84 as well, so he's in that same tier there.
Yeah, I just think they're projecting a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sweet. If it turns out that way, then that's really good news for the Mavs. Yeah.
I find that interesting. They're not too far off with that second best player. If Christian Wood puts it all together. But yeah.
I got one similar to this. So I looked at every team in the league, West and East, and said, so there's a difference of 11 points between Luka and Dinwiddie, like you said, or Luka and Christian Wood, like you said, and from a 95 to an 84. Can you guess off the top of your head? Just take a guess. There's 4 other teams that the drop off from their best player to their second best player is at least 10 points. Could you, just off the top of your head?
The best player to the second best player.
There's only 4 other teams.
That's 10 points.
Yeah, at least 10 points.
Well, Middleton. So Bucks.
So Giannis to Drew is 11 points.
Oh, not even Middleton because he's injured.
Yeah.
Then who else? Is it Keldon Johnson?
I'm going to tell you one that's not fair, but Steph to Wiggins is 12.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a really good
because they have, Clay and Draymond at like 83s and stuff.
Should have known that one. Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr.
to Desmond Bane is 10 points.
Jaren Jackson not even getting though.
And the last one we just talked about is Jokic to Jamal Murray.
Now, Jamal Murray's too low, right?
Yeah. So there's only 5 teams in the league that have that big of a drop off from their number 1 player to their number 2 player. Now, get this. 3 of those teams, the Grizzlies, the Bucks, and the Warriors, have outside their top player, have 4 other players in the 80s. So like showing you that they have some depth. The only 3 teams that don't have at least 4 players outside their top guy in the 80s is the Mavericks and the Nuggets. And
I did this with players ranked 75. So like, what's your full rotation basically? Like, can your full rotation, everybody who's ranked 75 or higher? Here's the list. Ready? Clippers have 12. This is just the West, by the way. Clippers have 12. The Timberwolves have 11. They're deeper than you think.
Huh.
Kings have 11.
Yeah, they just don't have anybody above 82.
And they just don't really fit that super well. The Pelicans, the Thunder, and the Nuggets all have 10 ranked 75 or higher. That Thunder one really surprised me.
Wow.
The thing is, the Thunder's like they're 3 to 10. 3 to 10 in there. It's all 75s.
Yeah.
The Mavericks have 9. The Grizzlies have 9. The Blazers have 9. The Warriors have 9. All ranked 75 or higher. So that's some depth. But you did mention, I noted this, that the Grizzlies, Blazers, and Suns all have 5 players in the 80s. So you're like, okay, the Mavericks' depth is pretty good right there. Like maybe the Clippers, Wolves, Kings, Pelicans, Thunder, and Nuggets are deeper than them. But you have to remember the Grizzlies, Blazers, and Suns, and probably Warriors all have better depth than the Mavericks. So like you're pushing the Mavericks down a little bit, even on that. And this is all just by 2K's standards. Like I would probably rank some of the Mavericks players a little higher here. Put some more of them in the 80s. Like I would think Dorian would be an 80 just because of everything he brings to that team.
Let me put 2K on blast for a second.
Yeah, do it.
Here's a rating that I have an issue with. So the Mavs 3-point shooting, Luka A+, Christian Wood and Dorian at A-, Reggie Bullock at a B+. The next 3 best 3-point shooters on the Mavs, according to 2K, is Josh Green, Tyler Dorsey, and Dwight Powell.
All right, are you ready for this? NBA2K.com put the number out there and not just like the letter grade.
Yeah.
Luka's an 87. Christian Wood and Dorian are 83s. Bullock is an 80.
At threes?
At 3-point shooting, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tyler Dorsey, Tyler Hall, and Josh Green are 79s.
Yeah.
Dwight Powell's a 78. Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., and Ntilikina are 77. There's no world. And then Davis Bertans is 76. Maxi's a 75.
Here we go. That's the one. How do you have Josh Green, Dwight Powell, Frank Ntilikina, all of these guys as a better 3-point shooter than Maxi Kleber? What is going on? Y'all don't even know who he is. Y'all put Tyler Hall, a creative player, above Maxi. What is going on?
For me, it's Tim, Bertans, and Maxi. Like for Bertans' struggles last year, he's still a better 3-point shooter than Dwight and Josh Green and Ntilikina.
Ugh, that was frustrating.
Bertans must be just like a terrible 2K player if his 3-point shooting is 76.
I'm worried about Maxi on 2K now. I'm like, dang.
75 3-point shooter. Like that's fine, I guess, but I think the other Mavs are just too high. God, Josh Green and Dwight Powell. Like, I don't know. 79, 78. I don't know what they're looking at. They must have watched the same practices we have with Dwight Powell when he just drains 10 threes in a row.
They're like, hey, he's winning all these shooting competitions.
I got a couple other Mavs questions for you.
All right.
They're Maxi and Reggie are both 75s. There's 2 players that are ranked higher than them that I'm calling BS on. Dwight Powell's a 76. Who's higher than both Maxi and Reggie Bullock.
Wow. I'm surprised about the Reggie one.
There's no world to me where Reggie Bullock is lower than Dwight Powell.
Yeah.
JaVale McGee is a 77, so he's higher than both Maxi and Reggie as well.
Okay.
And this is just overall.
Yeah, I would put Reggie over him for sure.
I would take both of those guys over JaVale, I think.
That's wild.
Tim Hardaway Jr. and JaVale have the exact same rating at 77.
Okay, we're a little high rating for JaVale right now.
And Davis Bertans' 3-point rating was the one that really stuck out to me as just being egregious. Even though he didn't shoot well last year, he's still like a really good 3-point shooter.
Yeah. Well, if you have 2K or you're looking to buy 2K, you can also play with some other teams for the Mavs. You can play with the championship team, which I was looking at the 2011 title roster on here. They have 5 players that have an A+ 3-point shooting rating.
Yeah.
I was like, holy crap.
We've done finals flashbacks. We know how they won those games.
We have done finals flashbacks. real quick rundown of the all-time Mavs roster, which compared to other teams, you're like,
this is every Mavericks player in history.
Yeah. Dirk's obviously a 98. The second best player in Mavs history, according to 2K, is Luka Doncic at 93, which is accurate.
Makes sense.
Then they have Derek Harper as the clear-cut number 3.
Wow.
And then you have like a 5-way tie between Rolando Blackman, Mark Aguirre, Jim Jackson, Michael Finley, and Jamal Mashburn.
Wow, I'm surprised you didn't say Jason Kidd or Steve Nash in either of the in that whole bunch.
So Kidd and Nash are both in that next group, and then you get 23-year-old.
Nash was a 2-time All-Star with the Mavericks.
So yeah, you get 30-year-old Nash, you get 23-year-old Jason Kidd. So they have like really young Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
So Kidd, Nash, Jason Terry, James Donaldson. Shout out to their boards.
Yeah.
A plus rebounder. Brad Davis, and then rounding out the roster, Tyson Chandler and Sean Bradley.
Interesting. You didn't say you didn't say Sean Marion in there?
Sean Marion's not on the team, no. No. Let me play against you in this team, and you will not get a rebound between Bradley, Tyson Chandler, and Donaldson.
Well, I'll do Luka because he's the best rebounder on the Mavericks, apparently.
I'm trying to figure out who I would start besides Luka and Dirk.
We're doing an all-time Mavs starting 5 right now with the 2K.
Yeah.
Team. Well, I'm putting Harper there for defense and 3-point shooting.
Yeah.
I'm probably putting Rolando Blackman there.
Harper, Luka backcourt.
That's good.
Dirk. If you want to throw Tyson in there, or if you want to run Dirk at the 5,
I do want to throw Tyson in there. I do.
At that point, then I would probably do Finley and then one of Aguirre or Blackman.
Yeah,
on the wings.
Yeah, that's a good team.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of fun.
The Lakers one is the Lakers and Celtics ones are like the top 20 players.
I don't really care about them, but.
Incredible. So there you go. That's some thoughts on 2K. Let us know in the comment section below which players should be ranked below Luka, or do you think he's properly rated? Let us know. We will be back on Monday. Isaac will have you covered, talking all Mavs news and rumors.
Guys, we have next week is the last week. The last week before media day, before training camp starts and practices and news. We might get a trade next week. We might all the fun stuff. We're at the doorstep of the next season, and it's wild that it's already here. So stay tuned. Share the show. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. We're getting close to 17, right?
We're incredibly close. We got to get to 17 before the season starts, or just before media day. So if you haven't subscribed on YouTube, do it right now. Please subscribe. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs. Go listen to Locked On NBA with Adam Mares and Wes Goldberg covering all the stuff in the NBA. Great stuff. I was on there yesterday with Hayes talking Robert Sarver and Adam Silver. Go check it out. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.